In the history of Batman comics, there's one writer who is both famous and infamous for all the right and wrong reasons.
Obviously, today we're talking about Frank Miller.
Frank Miller, he's done so many amazing things for the Batman character, essentially revamping how people perceived him in the 80s, no?
Absolutely. I think we can say confidently that Frank Miller has written both the best Batman books of all time and the worst Batman books of all time.
Yeah, and today, guys, we're going to be looking specifically at one all-star Batman and Robin.
Guys, I'm Thomas.
I'm Merlin.
Together, we are the Comic Lads.
And today, let's deep dive into the worst possible Batman story ever written. But before we get into it, guys, you know the dealio, question of the week. Have you read All-Star Batman or Robin? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you a fan? Do you despise it like we do and everything we're about to talk about? Let us know.
But before we get into it, guys, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Become one with the lads.
One of the lads.
Okay, dude, should we just give like a basic rundown of what the book is really quick?
The basic rundown, if you've read Batman The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller, you'll know that he really kind of shaped the way people perceive Batman as like a dark hero. And I think DC was like so into it. They're like, oh, this is great. We need another banger from you in this universe.
Yeah. So DC wanted to put out this series of kind of evergreen titles based on their most popular characters. You know, stories that people could read and pick up that were timeless and really good. They started with All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison. And then they were like, we gotta get one for Batman, but let's get Frank Miller. You know, he's like the best Batman writer of all time, arguably. Yeah. And he was like, I want to tell like a story about Robin, but it's also gonna be like kind of the origin of like the universe that I set up in The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, it could be considered like a prequel or continuation of an origin story.
Exactly, which is why Batman is batshit fucking insane.
See, there's this thing, I don't know why, there's like this phenomenon with comic book writers specifically where they'll have like one really big break that'll like totally reshape how the comic industry perceives a certain character.
Yeah.
And they'll get like too confident and too powerful in their position, and DC or Marvel will just be like, oh, do whatever you want.
Literally, no, they were like, Frank Miller turns in the most insane script of all time, and they're like, it's Frank, dude, we can't change it.
Exactly.
Should we talk about, I think, the most infamous thing in this whole book?
Yeah, this is just like a straight up inside joke.
We're gonna have to bleep it, obviously.
Yeah.
This is kind of retelling the origin of Dick Grayson as Robin. He's a circus boy. His family leads the Trapeze Act, the Flying Graysons. They're killed by, you know, an unknown assailant. Bruce is there, adopts him.
No, he doesn't adopt him, bro.
That's in the main continuity. He does not adopt him in this one.
Bro, in this
kidnaps him.
In this book, he doesn't give Dick Grayson a second to grieve, dude. Like, his parents are shot, and then he immediately grabs him. He's like, you've just been drafted. Like, he's like, you are now the boy wonder.
No, literally, this kid's parents are they're shot in the head by a sniper, and then Batman reels in with the Batmobile, blows up like 6 cop cars, grabs Dick, and then says, you've just been drafted.
Keep in mind, Dick is still in his fucking, like, trapeze uniform right now.
Bro, he might have, like, his parents' blood on it.
No, I know. He's like, what the hell is going on?
The moment that we want to highlight, which, like, I still don't think it's left Frank Miller to this day. Like, people still talk about it.
Bottom 5 worst lines in any comic ever, I think.
Batman kidnaps Dick Grayson, and he's, like, barreling through cop cars, for sure murdering people. And then Dick goes, who the hell are you anyway? And Batman says, what are you, dense? Are you retarded or something? Who the hell do you think I am? I'm the goddamn Batman.
I just feel like while Frank Miller was writing that, he was like, chef's kiss. I'm writing straight heat right now.
Gunna meme where he's like writing with fire.
Exactly. No, he's that meme of SpongeBob writing out the script and then looking at it like, it's the most un-Batman thing I think I've ever read.
Ever.
Way to lay down a foundation of trust. This poor fucking 12-year-old schmuck when his parents are just murdered in front of him, and then you call him retarded.
Yeah, and then you bring him into your dank, miserable, scary cave underground. Yeah. He just leaves Dick, by the way, with no change of clothes. He's he's in like his trapeze uniform still, and he just leaves Dick there while he's gonna go back out.
No, literally, he's like, I got work to do.
Yeah.
Stay here.
And Dick's like, what am I supposed to eat? And Batman goes, the food will present itself.
And then later on, Alfred is like, what do you expect me to do? Eat rats? And he's like, I did.
Yeah, no, like
He's gotta be as miserable as me.
And like Dick passes out because he's not gonna eat rats, and he wakes up and there's like a cheeseburger and fries in front of him because Alfred is, you know, a good person.
This is the G.
Batman's like, what are you doing? You're ruining everything.
But you know, Frank Miller, this isn't his only offense in this book. In theory, you hear Frank Miller and Jim Lee pairing up together, and you're like, this is about to be the best Batman book ever.
This is up there with Jim Lee's best work.
But I feel so bad for some of the panels that Jim Lee had to draw. Batman, Black Canary, just banging.
So should we talk about how Batman lasts 3 panels with Black Canary, bro?
I don't think we have to talk about it. You just did. That's what happens, dude.
They start banging, and then 2 panels later,
Fat nut.
Jim Lee draws a lightning strike to imply like the Batman finished, and then he's like, "Oh, do you need a ride home?" And she's like, "Dude, I'm good."
Yeah, it's so rad though. Keep in mind, Batman's getting his bat nut out while Dick Grayson's at home like starving in a cave.
Yeah, or like
training. He kidnaps a kid, leaves him in a dark, damp, cold cave.
Yeah.
With like rats and bats everywhere, and then just goes and gets his bat nut on. I feel like Zack Snyder specifically took a look at all of Frank Miller's work with Batman and was like, that's the one for me.
You remember that weird interview, like must have been on like Joe Rogan or something, where Zack Snyder was talking about his version of Batman? He's like, yeah, you know, my Batman, he's like different from other Batman. You're like, my Batman, he could get ripped in prison.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
I know, what does that have to do with anything?
What does that mean?
That's the thing, Batman's such like an intriguing character with so many different dark sides to him, and I feel like when you're too creative with him and you try to like push that theme too much, you get ideas like this.
Yeah, well, it's when you go past the dark and brooding aspect and you make him twisted, that just doesn't work.
Exactly.
Then I'm not rooting for him. I don't want to read about him. Like I don't want Dick to become Robin in this book.
Exactly. I mean, there's some other things that happen in this book that we'll just touch on really quick. Like Frank Miller, like you said, some weird sexual deviancy in here, you know what I mean? Like there's one point in the book where Vicki Vale, who he kind of tries initially to set up as a love interest for Bruce, her and Bruce are together at the circus.
Yeah, but it never goes anywhere because it took him like 3 years to write, and he just forgot what he was writing from issue to issue.
Exactly. But there's this one point where she gets hospitalized, and as she's being released, Jimmy Olson, Superman character, comes in. It's so weird. Like, she gets naked in front of him, and it's kind of implying that she's, like, doing it to tease him.
Yeah, and she's saying, like, oh, don't peek.
Yeah. And then the writing is like, oh, he tries his best not to, but, like, he has to, you know what I mean? He really tries his best.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I know you're writing yourself in Jimmy Olsen's shoes, you creep. By the way, Jimmy Olsen, underage.
He looks like he's, like, 12.
There's one other big thing that I really want to talk about here, and it's so egregious. This is the start of a trend in Frank Miller's DC/Bat books, where he would just write maybe the worst version of Wonder Woman ever put to the panel.
And I gotta say, like, prior to recently, actually, my only exposure to Wonder Woman was in books like this, and it totally soured me on her.
100%. Well, when you have such a gross misinterpretation of who she's supposed to be, you're obviously just gonna think she's whack. The members of the would-be Justice League, basically just Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Plastic Man, they're having like a meet at this secret hideout where they're trying to decide what to do about Batman, because, you know, he's like a terrorist, basically. Yeah. Wonder Woman is like, we should just kill him. And Superman's like, okay, well, like, no. And Wonder Woman's like, oh, you men, you're all such, like,
you're all weak.
Yeah, you're all weak. And Superman just loses it, and he's like, damn you, woman, like, that's not what we do. And he, like, knocks her down, and she goes, you bastard, I hate your guts. And then they make out. Superman would never act like this.
Well, it's not just that, but I feel like he always has to inject this weird sexual side into all of his characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I think Frank was just losing it and forgetting everything that he was writing. At one point, I'm pretty sure it had been a year between 2 issues, bro. And, you know, it must have been really bad, because the craziest thing about this book is that it doesn't finish. There's, like, 2 issues missing.
Yeah, I think DC was just like, let's just cut our losses.
Yeah, literally. You know what I mean? Well, because, like, this is one of the worst books ever.
No, literally, I think readers got the first issue, Batman called Robin retarded, and everyone dropped off. Like, the viewership just fucking plummeted, dude. And that's why this has become one of the most infamous Batman stories of all time. Please let us know what you thought of All-Star Batman if you've read it. If you haven't, steer clear.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Yeah. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like. It really helps us out. Subscribe for more content, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.